Alright folks, we're getting ready to do this little necropsy. Let me get my camera turned around here and I'll show you what I was talking about. So there she is. So she's kind of bloated, she's been sitting there all day. And that would be our doctor tag, and that is the day that she's cleared to be pulled. So she, as you can see, she wasn't ready to be pulled yet. And so I've got her laying with her right hand side facing up, and that's how you you wanted to have them laying when you go to cut them open. And I'm gonna grab this ID tag and then we will get to it. Alright, so there's my steel. Here is my necropsy knife. I don't know how sharp it is, but what I usually do is I'm going to start cutting right here. And I'm going to cut up almost to under here. So that way I can expose the trachea. And then I'm going to continue on back to here. And what you're going to do is you're just going to lay that front leg right there, you're going to lay it on over, and then you do the same thing here, and you're going to split it right at that ball joint at their hip. And then where this one there's no bone joint, it's all cartilage and connective tissue and tendons. It's a lot easier to lay back. So once we get those legs laid back, then I'm going to cut in between the ribs, and then I'm going to cut each rib loose, and then we're going to fold it back and break it there at where it connects into the spine, and that'll expose the lungs and the heart, and then on back it'll expose the liver and the intestines and the stomachs. So I'm gonna go ahead and make this cut, and then I will start recording some more. Okay, now we've got her laid open and I've isolated the trachea. I cut it right at the larynx. Now we're gonna go ahead and cut the ribs open, and I can do this kind of one-handed, so get you a better idea. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna stick your blade right between two ribs, and you're gonna cut all the way down. Ooh, she's got some fluid coming off there. And you're just gonna do that all the way to the front. And what you're doing is you're finding your heart and your lungs. Okay, so there's a little knuckle right there at the bottom. You're going to cut through that. And this kind of will dull your knife, but that's why you keep them sharp. Sometimes that knuckle can be hard to find, and then you end up cutting through bone. But it's I've done it a time or two, so I've got a pretty good method of doing it. And so there we go. We got a couple 3-4 ribs cut back, and now we're just gonna break these on back. And what we got here is not good. So this right here is your lungs. And that is not a healthy set of lungs at all. Let me cut these other ribs. Okay, we've got our ribs cut all the way open. We've got the lungs exposed. I'm going to put another glove on so I don't get my phone all nastified. And And I'll show you how we pluck the lungs and the heart using the trachea for kind of a handle and leverage. So let me get a glove on. We'll be right back. Okay, got my gloves on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find my trachea here. And what I'm going to do after that is I'm going to cut back all the way along the edge of these, where the lungs are kind of attached in the cavity there. And I'll use this trachea, and I'll pull one way or the other. And eventually both lungs and the heart and the trachea will all come out in one piece. I'm going to have to cut the tube that goes from on back into the stomach, but not a big deal. So I'm going to cut that. I'm not going to be able to do that one-handed. So as soon as I get done, I will show you. Okay, so I have got the lungs and heart plucked. That's what it looks like when it's all said and done. Okay, so this would be that bottom side lung, and as you can see, there's a lot of discoloration, and you can't go, especially as long as she's been dead, you can't really go by the color so much as you would by feel, because the longer she lays, the blood's going to settle to that bottom side, obviously, gravity being a real thing that it is. And so they're going to be darker on the bottom side, so you can see kind of that. But up here is kind of what we'd consider a healthy lung. It's discolored because she's starting to decompose, and maybe a touch of AIP in there. You can kind of see some air pockets. But the part we're looking at is right in there. And you can see, like, right here is the start of a little abscess on her lung. And if you're here, you could feel it, and it's like I've said before, it kind of feels like a hockey puck almost. Maybe not quite that hard, but kind of the same consistency. Now if we go and we flip them over to the side that was up, so that right lung we've already cut into, and you can see there's a lot of yellow. So what that could be is either leptospirosis or it could be acute pleuritis. And a lepto is fairly common in these dairy cattle for whatever reason. I'm not a vet, so I don't know exactly the case being, but anyway, all said and done, it's a little tough to tell because she's decomposed pretty decent. She really don't smell terrible. Not as bad as I thought, but you can go by feel. And let's see, there's her heart, and see, you can see here that would be the bottom side of her heart, and that would be, see how it's still kind of got a point there. So that's where you kind of want it. Like I said before, the heart is kind of shaped like an almond almost, and so you want it to have a point at the bottom. And so like right here is kind of a healthy portion of lung, decently anyways. And you can see how kind of squishy it is, as opposed to like right here, you can see there's not much give to it, as opposed to here where it's kind of squishy, kind of wiggly. And here it's pretty stiff. And yeah, so there's your lungs, and I'm gonna call her. So we got that left lung there. That's the whole thing, and from here, basically from here up, is pretty healthy looking. A little bit of AIP, but everything below that is riddled with pneumonia, and it's basically dead tissue. And so she had almost no lung capacity left. And there's my knife, and you can cut into all that and see that, it's just, she was in pretty tough shape. There's not any big surprise that she died. So that was a late pull, and some of these heifers are kind of tough. You never know exactly what they're gonna do. They can hide that sickness pretty well for a while, And then being limit fed as they are, they're always hungry, so they're always going to eat, almost always. So it's sometimes it's a little tough to tell, and then by the time they finally start to show some sickness, you may be too late. So if you're a good pen rider, you can pick up on it, and you can get them doctored early and not have them die on you like that. But sometimes you miss some, and that was the case on this, and so the dead will eventually go on the gal that rides pins with me. But it could have just as easily been me, because I rode that pin the day before she did, and I didn't pull her. So eventually it goes to whoever missed it last. I pulled it on Wednesday, and she rode that pin on Tuesday. So it is what it is. I didn't pull her the 2 days before that, but said she probably wasn't showing any symptoms, and but she was dang sure sick, and so I'm going to call her respiratory with about 70% pneumonia in the left lung, and about 80 to 90% in the right. And I'm not going to worry about her guts. She's pretty decomposed. I really don't want to mess with it. It's going to be kind of gross. You guys might enjoy it, but I don't care that much. I'm not gonna do it. So anyway, I'm gonna push her off into the pit, get her buried, and then I'm gonna feed horses and call her a day.